Right, so welcome back to another video on this channel. Welcome back to another post-match reaction video for a Premier League match, and of course, Manchester City 3, Tottenham 0, a really comfortable and just assured performance from Manchester City as they remain on very good form. It's now 16 wins in a row in all competitions for them, and yeah, they just really are looking unstoppable, looking absolutely untouchable, unbreakable at this moment in time in all departments of the pitch, and yeah, they have gone 10 points clear now at the top of the Premier League table, and Spurs, on the other hand, really looking bleak for them, I have to say, and Jose Mourinho will be gathering pressure. I think the fans have already started to turn on him a little bit, and that's now 4 defeats in their last 5 games in the Premier League, so things are really not looking good for them whatsoever at this moment in time. And to be honest, I think the main thing I would use to actually summarise this game is the fact that from the word go, I think Spurs really feared City from the off, and I think they continued that for the whole 90 minutes. I think City really smelt that fear, as I said, from the word go, and yeah, I think that's mainly the reason why City were so comfortable in this game, because they smelt that fear from Spurs, and overall, I don't think City were actually nervous whatsoever about Spurs, and for good reason, because Spurs, I can't really think of any clear-cut chances they actually created in the game, and I think Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, once again, as we've seen so much this season, have just been absolutely isolated up top, and I can't remember how many touches they got. I think it's like 40 or 50 each. Wind's just blown my window closed, which actually scared the shit out of me, as you can probably tell, but as I was saying, I don't know how many of those touches that Kane and Son did get were actually, in areas that actually troubled City's defence. I don't know how many touches Kane and Son got in, City's penalty area, but I can categorically guarantee you it was probably less than 5 each, and yeah, that's the one thing I just can't see about this Spurs team, is the fact that obviously we know Jose Mourinho, the system he plays, it's not going to be the most enthralling. He's going to, sit back, try and soak up the pressure, and try and hit him on the break with the likes of Kane and Son, etc. But when it doesn't work, you literally take Kane and Son out of the game completely, and although I think Kane and Son were trying at spells today, they really didn't get involved in the game nearly as much as they should have, and that's one of the main reasons why Spurs were, so terrible today, if I'm honest. And yeah, the scoring did kick off. If we go on to it now, of course, it was a penalty that kicked off City's run. Rodri with a penalty, a really unconvincing penalty, if I'm honest, and we did see Ederson go, you know what, can I take it? Go on, let me take it. I'm getting a bit bored here because Spurs literally haven't tested me whatsoever, so can you let me take the penalty? But in the end, of course, he didn't take it. It was Rodri who played DM today and was really good once again. Rodri really come out of his shell in recent weeks in this City team. A really unconvincing penalty from Rodri, I'm not going to lie, because Lloris did get a solid hand on it, but it did end up going into the back of the net, so of course, a good penalty overall because it did go in. Whether I think it was a penalty or not, I think it was pretty harsh, but it's another one of those of VAR, because I don't think with VAR at this moment in time and the way that the officiating is going in the Premier League, I don't think you can actually, give a balanced opinion on decisions anymore, because, literally anything could be dictated as a penalty now in the current rule book, and anything might not be, because we just don't know what the rules are anymore, and yeah, that's why I think it's probably a 50-50, but I think a penalty probably was, more penalty than not a penalty, if I'm honest, if that makes sense. And yeah, for the second goal then, right into the second half, Raheem Sterling and Ilkay Gundogan, really just playing around Spurs in their own penalty area, and it was really just weird to see, because yeah, as I said, City literally trying to walk the ball into the net, and then Sterling was patient, waited for the run of Gundogan, who's, as I keep saying on this channel, is so good at invading space at the right times and in the right positions, got into the space and toe poked it past Lloris. Maybe Lloris could have done a bit better, but overall I think Gundogan's finishing is just absolutely amazing, and I think he's got like 10 goals in his last like 9 games or something for City, which is just absolutely ridiculous for the role that he does play, but he's really stepped up in recent months, Ilkay Gundogan. We always knew he was a good player, I always thought he was an underrated player, but he's added that something to City in the last few weeks, especially in the absence of Kevin De Bruyne, and yeah, Ilkay Gundogan, really the man of the moment at this moment in time, did win himself the Player of the Month award for January, which I think is massively deserved, and yeah, has proved himself to be one of, if not the most important player to Manchester City at this moment in time. Then the third goal is just an absolute thing of beauty. It's a goal that Jose Mourinho will be absolutely fuming with, don't get me wrong, but a massive long ball over the top from Ederson, which I think was just absolutely pinpoint, and for all the mistakes he can make, Ederson, I think that's why he's in the team. With a ball like that, his ability with the ball at his feet, which of course we know Pep Guardiola is very fond of having that in a goalkeeper, a really good ball over the top, and Gundogan does get on the end of it and finishes it relatively well, and at that point we did know that it was going to be a trainer match for City in the last 25 minutes, of course, if it wasn't already at 0-0, because as I keep saying in this video, City controlled the game, they smelt the fear from Spurs from, the kickoff, and yeah, there was nothing really Spurs more could have done except for, just pray that it wasn't more than 3. And I just don't know where this Spurs team go now under Jose Mourinho, because as I keep saying, the brand of football, as we know, is just absolutely draining. I really do feel for Spurs fans in a certain sense, because even though I'm a Chelsea fan, and I love to see Spurs losing for that reason, it's just really bleak, bland, boring, the triple B's I'll use to describe Spurs, their situation situation at this moment in time, because they're caught in a bit of a crossfire at this moment in time, these Spurs fans, because on one hand, I don't think anybody is enjoying this Spurs way of playing under Jose Mourinho with the brand of football he does play. I don't think anyone's enjoying the fact that Son and Kane are so isolated in most of the games they do play. But I think they want to stick by Mourinho, because I think he's probably their only hope in the last few years of actually winning them a piece of silverware, which is something, of course, they've been deprived with over the years. And that's why I think that Spurs fans are really caught in a bit of a crossroads here, because on one hand, they don't want this Mourinho football, they don't want Mourinho there in the first place, I'd say, and at the second time, they kind of want a trophy, and that's what Mourinho, does give you. And I think if he doesn't bring Spurs a trophy, I think Spurs are just cursed ultimately, because yeah, Spurs, if they were to win a trophy, I think it would be Jose Mourinho that would, of course, be the man to give it to them, and if they didn't do that, I think this whole Jose Mourinho era at Spurs would be a massive, humongous flop, because of course that's the reason he was brought in the first place, was to win them their first piece of silverware since 2008. And we can't ignore as well the fact that if I go into the lineups here, this was a City team without, first of all, Ruben Diaz, who's undoubtedly been the best centre-back in the Premier League this season, Kevin De Bruyne as well, who, you could argue on paper is the best player in the Premier League this season, and overall, of course, and they're missing Sergio Aguero, who a lot of people are forgetting that is still missing, hasn't featured that much this season, hasn't featured that much in last year, and yeah, probably, you could argue the best striker in the Premier League on his day. So that's three massively key players for Manchester City that were missing today, and even still, Spurs feared them and just rolled over for City and let City put three past them, which is just absolutely mind-boggling to me still. But yeah, this Spurs team is so low in confidence at this moment in time, I suppose that does explain it. And yeah, if we go through this City lineup in terms of the standout players, I think obviously Ilkay Gundogan was man of the match by a country mile. Once again controlled the midfield when, was getting into the pockets of space really well, just controlled the game in terms of his passing. He's such a cool footballer. I just really love Ilkay Gundogan, and at this moment in time, he is most certainly getting the credit that he's deserved for a long time. Rodri in midfield, once again, even though he got the goal, was really good in midfield. Jesus did really well in terms of linking the play, which I think he's more, best at. I don't think you're going to get like 20 goals a season from Gabriel Jesus. I think he's more like a Firmino type that, involves the likes of Sterling and Foden and Bernardo Silva, etc. into the game, and will get a goal every now and then. And yeah, I think that Jesus once again was really good in terms of that. I think Sterling once again was good. Foden once again was good. Overall, I just think the back four especially as well didn't really have much to do. They didn't really have to stretch their legs or anything. They didn't really have to break a sweat, because Spurs, as I keep saying, even though if you look at the stats, they actually did have 7 shots on goal, I can't remember any of them being actual, properly testing efforts for Ederson and the City back four, which just really would worry me from a Spurs standpoint, sorry. Yeah, City there with 60% possession, 15 shots to 7, 6 on target to 3, just utter controlling, dominating performance from Manchester City as per usual, and yeah, it's really looking good for them now. I do think that they'll take some stopping now in the Premier League title race this season. I think we've all conceded at this point that the title is pretty much theirs at this rate. And yeah, another humbling defeat for Spurs, and if we actually go up and look at the table, that does of course keep them in 8th in the Premier League table, but Aston Villa do of course have 2 games in hand over them. They're currently playing Brighton as we speak, and even if they were to, win one, I think if they were to draw one of those games, one of those 2 games, they'd go ahead of Spurs, which means Spurs would drop down to 9th. If Leeds were to beat Arsenal tomorrow night, they would go, just 1 point behind them. So yeah, Spurs potentially could be in a few weeks' time the bottom half of the table. It just could happen, because the form isn't there at this moment in time. The only win they've got in the last 6 games in all competitions was at home to West Brom. If that doesn't tell you anything about how they're going at this moment in time, I don't know what does. And yeah, I think that is where we're going to end this video. And yeah, just to summarise, I think a really controlling, dominant, easy performance from Manchester City. I think Spurs, as I keep saying in this video, they did fear City from the minute go, and yeah, just really gifted the initiative to City in this game. And my God, did City take it once again, like they usually do. And yeah, if you did enjoy this video, make sure to drop a like, because 20 likes as per usual will be massively appreciated by myself. And also, if you could hit that subscribe button, that would be very much appreciated as well, because we are now looking to hit 1,500 subscribers on this channel as soon as we possibly can. So if you do hit that subscribe button, it would cost you absolutely nothing and would make my day, so it is very much a win-win situation. And yeah, I'll see you guys in my next video. City remain top of the league, in control of the Premier League title race at this moment in time, and yeah, see ya.